Being a Mets and Jets fan, it is not for the weak. After the Mets have collapsed, now the Jets are 0-6, and life is full of pain and misery. But it's a new week, Monday, October 13th, 2025. You're watching Mets Daily. I'm your host, Jake Brown, at Jake Brown Live. Make sure you smash that thumbs up on this video, hit that subscribe button, and follow me at Jake Brown Live on all socials. We've been popping off on TikTok Live, so check me out on TikTok, Instagram, X, and YouTube at Jake Brown Live and scan this code. $5 a month, become a Mets Daily Insider member. We'll have exclusive extra off-season shows once the postseason is over. 7 years? Pete Alonso out of his mind. Now, obviously, this is more of Scott Boras' calling. This is what Boras does, folks. He starts the price rocket high, the years rocket high, all well knowing there's no real world Pete Alonso gets 7 years. And there's no real world Pete Alonso gets 7 years from the New York Mets. And if you think that, you're living in a fantasy land. And if he does, I will eat crow on this program. Pete Alonso's not getting a 7-year deal. And he's got to come to that reality. Could there be a team that gives Pete Alonso 5 years this winter? Yes. Because I do believe he had a good enough season to get a 5-year deal. Like I've said, I still don't think the Mets are giving it to him. Remember, Pete Alonso famously, or infamously, or famously, I don't know which word to use for it, declined a 7-year, $158 million extension from the Mets back in 2023. That's before David Stearns got here. Outside of the Juan Soto contract of 15 years, $765 million, the biggest contract David Stearns had given out was Lorenzo Cain on the Brewers, 5 years, $80 million. Didn't work out that well. And then he gave out the 3-year, $75 million deal to Sean Manaea. Other than that, David Stearns has not been giving out 5, 6, 7-year deals. And after what he had to deal with Boras and Alonso last offseason, you bet your ass he's not doing it again. Which is why I've held steady that the Mets are going off for an Alonso contract, but it might be only 2 or 3 years. And I think there might be a suitor. Maybe it's the Angels. Maybe it's Texas. The Rangers. Maybe it's the Giants. Maybe it's the Mariners that says, you know what? We'll give Pete 5 for 130. And that's where the Mets say, sayonara. And as cool as it was that Pete met with the Mets, clamored to Cohen and Stearns that, hey, I want to hit 500 homers and be a Hall of Famer. I don't care about the stats. I want to win a championship. And is Pete going to be the guy here? Maybe, maybe not. But the reality is this, folks. The Mets ain't giving it to him. So what's Pete going to get? I think 5 for 130 is fair. Paul Goldschmidt got a 5-year, $130 million deal when he signed his deal with the Cardinals when he was in his age 31, 32 season. Back in 2019, Paul Goldschmidt was a much better defender. Similar hitters, Goldschmidt better defender. I just don't see a world that Pete's getting this, guys. And, I'm starting to not see a world where he's back in the Mets uniform. And I know a lot of people are going to be mad about that. But I think last year it was more realistic that he's back. And then there were rumors flying that it's not. And then no one wanted him. And it was. I think he had a good enough season. There's going to be some offers this year. Not crazy ones, but good enough where he says sayonara. And Pete just having a kid, like I talked about, I think he might want to raise his kid outside of New York City. And I think his wife would want to raise his kid outside of New York. So I'm starting to lean towards the fact he's not going to be a Met. It's only October 13th. This is going to be an endless debate and discussion. It's going to get incredibly annoying, to be honest. But the Mets have to start thinking, hey, if there's a world without Pete, who do we replace him with? And one of those guys might be Murakami. The Mets and Yankees reportedly interested in Murakami, who will reportedly be posted this offseason. Murakami able to get the bag now. He has turned 25 years old. Unlike Roki Sasaki, who went to Major League Baseball at 23, and that didn't allow him to go get the bag and a big monster deal like Yamamoto got. Murakami can get one. Now, will he get a Yamamoto-like deal? Probably not. But a Mets team that is looking to get younger this offseason and looking to get, have more tools in the shed and better defense. Murakami, 6 years younger than Pete Alonso. Could they give that 5 or 6 year deal to Murakami? instead. You see his numbers on the screen. The one concerning one is that strikeout rate, which has been 28% plus the last 3 seasons. He's striking out more than 1 out of every 4 times, which is basically every game he's striking out. He dealt with injuries last season, but still hit 22 home runs in 56 games. The guy could hit the long ball, and you see he had a record in Japan, 56 homer season in 2022 at 22 years old. 36, 28, 39, 56, 31, 33. This guy is a power machine and a left-hand bat that if you put another lefty with power in the lineup with Juan Soto, this Mets lineup could be dynamic. They say that he portrays more as a first baseman than he'll be a third baseman. So there's your replacement if the Mets went that route. They could start him at third and then have Beatty at second. That could be another option. I don't think he's elite defensively at third base, but if they get Pete or they say they trade for Yandy Diaz for a year and then go to Ryan Clifford, maybe Murakami's your third baseman. But they do have options, third, first, and DH if you sign him. So I think the Mets are going to have heavy interest. Obviously, we know David Stearns went to Japan to scout him. So what do you think? If the Mets move on from Pete, do you like taking a risk with a guy who's never been in the majors but has had a ton of power in Japan, in Munetaka Murakami? Let us know in the comments below. Speaking of your comments, we've been doing it all off season long. Thank you so much for your comments, everybody. We love them. We're going to keep responding to them today here on a new week, Monday, October 13th, after the Mariners won Game 1. Take a 1-0 lead. The Dodgers and Brewers tonight. I say Dodgers in 7. I said Mariners in 7. They take Game 1. I expect the Dodgers with Blake Snell to take Game 1 tonight. And if Blake Snell could start 2 and pitch maybe 3 times in this series, the Brewers are going to have a tough time winning. But they did beat them 6 times with the regular season, so that is worth noting. All right, let's go back to Friday. Again, keep hitting those comments. Keep smashing that thumbs up. Keep subscribing below. We're doing great, guys. Appreciate your support. And scan that code. Become a Mets Daily Insider member. And, of course, follow me at Jake Brown Live. All right, Randy Luna, 45, says 2 hitting coaches making the Mets really confused. Clearly they were. The approach was very confusing. And, that's how it goes. You got to have one hitting coach. From Michael W1Z70. Dude, new fan here in LFGM. Welcome, Michael. I got to say about the Orion Kirkering with that huge throwing error. Reminded me back in 1986 World Series. I was at the game with my brother and father. I was 9 years old, and that error reminded me of the error Billy Buckner made when Mookie Wilson hit that ground ball to him. I hope that poor kid Orion Kirkering doesn't beat himself over that because the Phillies are, as a whole, are to blame for their exit of the postseason. I pray Philly fans don't threaten this poor kid. But yes, I absolutely loved watching the Phillies and Yankee crumble terribly. Great show, and I liked and subscribed. Welcome, Michael. Appreciate you liking and subscribing to the show. Hopefully we see you every day here on the show with us. And that's awesome, man. The 86 World Series, my dad was a limo driver during the 86 World Series, and he drove the Celtics owner's son, I believe, to Game 6 and 7. And the guy offered my dad into their suite at Shea Stadium to go to the game. And my dad, so lame for this, said, I'm sorry, I got to watch the limo. Maybe he had other people to drive. I don't know, but I can't leave the limo. Leave the limo park, Dad, and go into the freaking World Series. What did he miss? The greatest World Series of all time. Maybe that's the PTSD I have and why I have serious FOMO and can't miss big Mets events, because my dad missed the last Mets World Series to watch his limo. So clearly it runs in the family. My dad's a Yankee fan, but he missed the 86 World Series and he had the opportunity to be there. I believe my aunt and uncle were there. My aunt gave me her Game 7 86 ticket. So other family was there. My dad, I wasn't born yet, but did not go. So good for you for being there. From Frank Natal, when speaking about the NL East, we have to watch the Marlins. They've got a good team, and they are up on the come-up. Even so, they're only a game or 2 behind the Mets and Reds for next year. They could be a problem. They could be. They could be a problem. Will they be a problem? I don't think so. I think they're a good team, but until they spend real money, they're not going to be a true problem. But clearly they're a problem for the Mets. Theo Isaac 9948. Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets. Mets got to keep getting ready. This year's coming. Go Mets. We'll still have some love for you guys. MRO. Let's go Mets. Bob Sack 6201. The worst part of it, even though he made the wrong throw, if it were an accurate one, the runner missed the plate, it would have been out once the catcher tagged him. Yeah, it's a good point, Bob. That was pointed out by a lot of people on social media. He did go back and tag the base. He did go back and get on the base, but that was definitely overlooked in the moment. You know, again, I was at a bar with Phillies fans. I had no idea that he missed the base. So it is interesting that he did tag him. He would have been out, but obviously the throw went too wild. Beetle 6190, good post per usual. Have a good weekend, Jake. Appreciate it, Beetle. Thanks for your support. Mikey Red FL 3976. Orion Kirkring as the Phillies, Billy Buckner. Yeah, that's been the comparison. Not as big. We're talking about World Series Game 6 versus a wild card. I mean, the Phillies are probably going to lose in 5 anyway, so not as big of a deal as that, but fairly similar. Cristiano Barriqua, Frank Santi 2102. Thank you for the $5 super comment, the $5 tip. Guys, if you do want to support the channel, we do appreciate those tips. Thank you, Cristiano. Not many people leave them. We don't expect them, but it's greatly appreciated. Thanks so much, Cristiano, for that $5. And just saying thanks. So appreciate you supporting the content. Obviously, all that stuff helps, guys. This is, like I said, I'm still in the search full time. This is my main thing right now. So any of that truly helps me as we continue to grow the Mets Daily family. So thank you so much for that, Cristiano. Kami Trash 0000F the Canucks. I don't know where that came from. I don't know why the Canucks came up, but okay. Randy Luna 45. Wow, my flight was really fast. I'm Cancun already, man. There you go. Cristiano said, "Go Tigers." My brother-in-law Jeff Waterloo is a Detroit Tigers fan. Go Mets. Well, tough loss for Jeff Waterloo. Da, 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 do, 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 do. One of the great songs from the Mamma Mia soundtrack. Cristiano also said, the door already hit them on their way out. Lol, go Mets. Yes, the door hit the Phillies on the way out. Thanks for your comments, everyone. Keep them coming. We'll be reading them all off season long. Obviously, a slow period for free agency. There's obviously rumors that come out here and there, but, we'll be tracking Pete Alonso. We'll talk about David Peterson. Should the Mets keep him? Jeff McNeil. All that stuff all off season, and we'll catch you tomorrow right here on Mets Daily. Thanks for watching.